Welcome to the Life with Kring on Air, a podcast about purpose, parenting, and people. In here, we hope to talk and collaborate on how to thrive in the 30s with your 30-something host, Trisha Julio. Hello, friends! Welcome to another episode of Life with Kring on Air. Today, we are going to talk about the August 16 word of City Church PH titled, You Have Not Passed This Way Before by Pastor Joe Alfafara. Please note that what I will be talking is pure personal reflections and some key points from the word. To give you an idea of what you will be listening today, here's an overview. I will be talking about today's word in Joshua 3, verse 1 to 5. The first verses of the story, Israel crosses the Jordan. I'm really having a hard time deciding what to talk about due to time limitations of 15 minutes. As you might have noticed, the first 6 episodes of my podcast has different time limits. So I kind of wanted to have this Sunday reflections down to 15 minutes only. And to do that, I have to be very concise in what I will talk about. And since there's a lot of emotions when Pastor Joe shared the highlight of Israel's journey as an introduction to the word today, it was hard for me to wrap around what I want to talk about because personally, Israel's journey is somewhat memorable for me as well. Thinking of my journey in the Christian life. But I started this podcast around 3 p.m. But I was hungry, so we had late lunch. And then it was just right now that I have the time to pick things up. So time check, it's already 11:39 p.m. So I want to make this quick. And in the last minute, I wanted to just on hold or not do a podcast for today. But a thought came, why don't I just focus on the main thing and discuss Israel's journey at another time? Yeah, that makes sense. So that thought settles it. Yay! So here I am. I'll just focus my reflection on the three things that Pastor Joe mentioned. The three things that we've never been before in our hearts. So that is number one, really hating sin. Number two, really repenting. And number three, really trusting God. So I will be putting the highlight of Israel's journey in another episode. I don't know when I will do that, but for this episode, I will just be mainly focusing on that three things. So, are you ready? If you are new to the podcast and wondered why I have this segment, I do this because I want to share how my relationship with Christ helped me become a better person. Attending our Sunday service and reflecting to the Word is one of the things that aid my continuous growth as a born-again Christian. And as a person whose passion is helping others, I want to share reflections with prayers that whoever is listening will be blessed as well. If you don't share the same, feel free to ignore and skip to other topics of this podcast. So thank you so much again for listening, and I hope and pray that you will come back and check out my other topics. So, friends, it's the third Sunday of my birth month. Yoo-hoo! And thankfully, God has been strengthening me to successfully record three podcasts for Sunday reflection. So, I'm so happy that I get to record this one tonight, even if it's just a little harder than the first two episodes. But it's just so amazing how God just prepares my heart for His messages. It always happened to me, but today I took note of the word that God imprints. The word is wonder. So if you would notice, finally, I have time to update my logo or the image of my podcast. So the picture right now is from my 2015 Wonder Woman stint in our trick or treat company activity. So I don't do trick or treats now in my new company for personal reasons, but it makes me happy to look back at those moments where I have been very active in those activities. So yep, I'm reusing it because after countless search in the internet, I actually want a logo or a cover that would represent me better. So I always love Wonder Woman. So not because I feel Wonder Woman all the time. Maybe, yeah, a little always wondering what to do. Not the Wonder Woman Diana thing. But yep, and I kind of like the title Wonder Mom. So I'm an aspiring Wonder Mom or Wonder Mom in the making. And so that's why I have updated it already. And it's just so amazing that today's word is wonder. And before the service, I was happy to see the donation of a friend known through an all-women's track in 2015. So as I was writing the thank you note detailing how we met, I wondered what happened to the other Wonder Women that were with us during that time. So this was I woke up early today, and the first thing I did was sorry, I didn't open my Bible app. I opened my FB and I saw the notification of her donations, and that's when I write the comment about wondering how the Wonder Women with us during that time now. So that's so just awesome. And then I actually smiled how I overused the word wonder, but it looks like mentioning it twice is not an actual overuse. But right now, I'm overusing it because it's just when Pastor Joe shared and mentioned a lot of wonders in the sermon today, it just occurred to me that I that God has been putting the word wonder in my mind already. Per Pastor Joe, washing precedes wonder. And in this time of pandemic, many of us needs wonder in our life. So how do we do that? How do we make the wonders in our life? To do that, we must allow ourselves or our hearts to go where we've never been before. And that is one really hating sin. And most of us didn't really, or even maybe some Christians have never really been to really hating sin because there's a lot of maybe things that don't allow us to just abhor sin. So there are a lot of ways that we are treating sin. Um, Number one, defending sin. Because everybody is doing it, why can't I do it? So that's the question that we are we are thinking when we know it's a sin, but since everybody is doing it, so might as well do it. But that's not really how we should treat sin. So although when I'm was listening to this, I'm kind of convicted, and every day there's this anxiety of deciding if this is a sin, or this is just a little sin, which I know when we are in a relationship with God, there's no little or big sin. Everything is just a sin. So as for me, I'm my the sin that keeps on coming back to me is that the thing about social media, especially in Facebook, um, there's always this judgment whenever I see or what do you call this? Look at the news feed of other people. It's very hard to just be still and cling, don't judge. What you see in social media is just real, REEL. So it's not really the life of most people. So there are just what do you call this? Sharing a part of themselves. And but sometimes it's just so hard to not judge. That's why it has been an on and off thing for me to what do you call this, to use social media. And I'm thankful really that for the passing days or the passing months, I have been somewhat consistent in preventing myself to scan the news feed. And I really hope and I really wish that those people who would like me to know what they're up to, they just want to they will just message me. And sometimes I still find myself guilty that I'm not aware of what other people, especially those close friends of mine, and what they're up to, because I'm not really checking their social media and all. But it's something that me and God has come to a point that I really shouldn't be focusing, or I really shouldn't be scanning the social media, because it will affect me deeply. So, and I think that's the sin that I keep coming back to. So, um, and somehow I have used that excuse that because everybody is in social media, I should also be in social media. And sometimes I use the excuse that I'm actually doing good by being in social media because I'm spreading good vibes, I'm spreading positivity and all. But what matters most is that in my mind, it's just sinful, especially if I scan the newsfeed and judge other people. So, and that is, and on to the next dangerous ways that we are treating sin, and that is deflecting sin. So, changing the topic. Most of the time, when God would convict me on how I use social media again, especially to scanning the news feed and judging people, I will just change the topic and say, Lord, I'm actually doing good in by being in social media, so just exempt me on this judgmental comment this time. But who am I kidding? So it's still a sin. So I might as well be very what do you call this? truthful because no matter how I defend myself to God, God always knows what's in my heart. So, and it's very heavy, but I know everything will work for God's reason. So, hopefully, I can get over this sin. And then the third one is accusing others. So, Pastor Joe mentioned a very common topic. It's that trivializing sin like gossip. So, sometimes we trivialize sin like because sin is just talking about sin, especially gossip, is like talking about other people, right? And sometimes we think it's not really harmful, but and some people are doing it. So it can be connected to defending the sin because everybody is doing it, or accusing others of doing it as well. So might as well do it, but still it's a sin. And trivializing it or doesn't make it any less sinful. So the gossip thing is, since I was young, I really hate gossip because I am surrounded by a lot of gossip mongers in our neighborhood, and as I grew up, I just tend to just um separate myself from the things that make me talk about other people. And that's why I just love talking about myself because it's it I hate talking about other people. So I just talk about myself instead, and ever I'm around people who talk about other people, I just don't feel good, and I don't I don't like it when other people are mentioned in conversations, like especially if it's bad. I just get a headache from it, and sometimes I just excuse myself, and sometimes I can't do anything because it's just some people are just doing it, and some are just, maybe it's fun for them to talk about other people, or maybe they don't have something good to talk about themselves. So but yeah, I think I'm guilty with this one, and I'm hoping that soon I will have the courage to just, hey, please, let's talk about how we are. Let's talk about our victories in Christ. Let's talk about something good with ourselves and not talk about other people's instead. So that's a prayer for me. And I hope that it's also a prayer for you. So that's it for the really hating sin. The second one is the second thing that where we've never been before is the really repenting. So this is just an additional to number one. So as for me, the sin that I keeps going back to, and that even if I have repented over it already and asked God so many times, Lord, just take this away from me, but I still keep going back to it. I was thinking if I'm really repenting, or maybe because I'm not really thinking that it's wrong. Like sometimes I think that the news feed is actually there to help me connect to my friends. But what really gets to me is the thing that I will judge people with it. So but maybe, this time around, I would really talk to God on how to deal with it this time. And number three, where we've never been before, is that really trusting God. So as for this, I'm not really guilty about this one because ever since I was young, even if I wasn't a born again Christian before, I have always been faithful to Him, trusting him in everything, even the little things like, Lord, give me parking. Like, Lord, I hope some taxi will just be around when some in the little things I just talk to God, and but and I just trust him. But there are times that worry and anxiety just get to me. But then again, God would always remind me that, Kring, I have delivered you in so many things. And this little thing, you are worrying about this. So leave it up. Leave it all to me. And on that note, I think God has really been awesome in my life. He's just been blessing me with a lot of things, and there's really nothing that I cannot rely him for. So, on that note, I would just really like to ask you guys to just trust God as well in whatever you are going through right now. Just trust in Him. His ways are always higher than our ways. And for us to have wonders in our life, let's just allow Him to check our hearts and to expose us and to help us identify the sin that we are hiding inside on our hearts so that we could repent it and go to number three, trusting in Him with all our hearts. Because for all we know, the things that is hidden in our hearts are the things that is stopping His miracles from going into our life, right? So, for the blessings of the Lord to come into your life, be willing to listen to Him, to just talk to Him, and be humbled, and be humble to accept whatever it is that God will tell you. Because it's only then that new days, new ways, and new wonders will happen. So that's it. I hope I express my thought in all these blabberings. But to wrap things up, I just really want to remind you that trusting God in everything and going to Him first in whatever it is in our life, in whatever situations that we are in, is the perfect thing to do because there's nothing that God cannot do. As usual, thank you for listening, guys. God bless you always. And remember, put God first and the rest will follow. Before closing, I would like to personally thank everyone for the kind words and feedback. And we would like to also extend our gratitude for all your supports. And hopefully, you will continue to support us and share the podcast, and which is now available in 8 platforms. So, but to cut it short, you could just go to anchor.fm/July. So there you will see all the links to all the platforms. And hopefully, whatever it is that I'm blabbering here, it will get to you. And praying that one day soon you will have some suggestion on a topic that will help you in your daily activities. And thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your week. It's gonna be it's around 12:16 now. It's August 17 and I just have 2 days before my birthday, and that's on August 20. So I'm kind of excited and I'm hoping that the wonders that God has shown me today will also be the wonder that these 2 days will, remaining 2 days of my 33 years existence in this world will, just a lot of something. So I think this is all it. Bye bye.
This episode of Life with Kring on Air was brought to you with love and prayers. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to hear more, please subscribe and share what you think at lifewithkring.wordpress.com. And as always, have a blessed day and remember that we are not made to survive, but we were made to thrive. Happy thriving, friends!